win, so I'm curious to see how that impacts Kurt Warner's top 5 quarterbacks list presented by Discover. Might we see some different names this week?
We're going to see a few different names. I thought there were some really good performances and, more guys than I could put on the list. I thought Mitch Trubisky played well on Thanksgiving. Ryan Fitzpatrick, I thought, played extremely well in their win against Philly, but only 5 could make it. So guys got pushed up a little bit because of the magnitude of the games and the moments they were in. So let's start with number 5. Ryan Tannehill gets the number 5 spot. He has been playing extremely well for this Titans team. But to me, this was a huge game, a game to keep them in the playoffs, beat the Colts, who they were even with in their division, giving them a chance still to win that division. But the way they played late, big plays late, especially this one right here, put him up over the top and slid him in to the number 5 spot. Number 4, another big moment. Josh Allen thought he played one of his best football games on Thanksgiving in front of the entire country. Going to Dallas, where Dallas is always good on Thanksgiving, and he really just dominated this game. Only 5 incompletions, made big play after big play. A lot of people were wondering, could Buffalo win a game like this? Well, they took care of business and won in dominating fashion. He gets the 4 spot. Number 3, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, in the snow, doesn't matter the weather, and as much as anything, he just makes some crazy throws every single time out. It seemed like every big play in this game was Aaron Rodgers being Aaron Rodgers, buying some time and making a special throw, a big 4th down throw in the game, some throws off balance like that, some throws down the field, just typical Aaron Rodgers stuff. 4 touchdowns gets him on the list at number 3. Number 2, the Rams needed a win to stay in the hunt, and they needed to get their offense back on track. And wow, did they get their offense back on track. I mean, 424 yards from Jared Goff, fully in control, using all of his weapons. A lot of big plays down the field, which was what we got accustomed to last year with this Rams offense, but it had been missing. Well, they got that back. Can they parlay that into some more wins? But great performance by Jared Goff. And then number 1, I talked about big moments. Deshaun Watson, 3 touchdown passes, a touchdown reception, but just a big performance, making big plays against the number 1 defense in the NFL in a big moment where you wondered, can this Texans teams, they usually lose to the good teams in the league, could they come out and beat Tom Brady and the Bill Belichick defense? Deshaun Watson quieted all the critics and played an unbelievable game. That's why he gets the number 1 spot.
So no Breeze, no Garoppolo, not this week. I bet you are very excited to see what they do this week, though, head-to-head in a game that will massively impact the NFC playoff picture. Saints, obviously, in the top spot right now. Niners, who were in the top spot last week, can get back there with a win against the Saints and with the Seahawks lose. How do you see all of this going down?
Well, I tell you what, I still think San Francisco is the most complete team in the NFC. I think the Saints are right behind them, so can't wait for this matchup. It's going to be tough. I'm leaning a little bit towards San Francisco now early in the week, and I believe they will get Seattle when they play again. Seattle, good team. Russell Wilson's awesome, but not quite as complete. So I see San Francisco finishing this whole thing as the number 1 seed.
Niners, Saints in New Orleans, somehow a 1 o'clock Eastern game again. So get your Game Pass so you can make sure that you can watch it if you're in a place that doesn't get it. Kurt Warner, thank you very much.
Character is developed through our experiences and the choices we make every day. This season, Gillette is celebrating NFL athletes who exemplify the best men can be, both on and off the field, inspiring the next generation of young women and men as we check out this week's Community Spotlight presented by Gillette. The Colts provided warm hats, winter coats, and gloves for 250 area school children. Quarterback Jacoby Brissett among those involved, as they volunteered at the Ralph Waldo Emerson School for the Colts Community Tuesday event. It was and the specialist. And one of the 3 men who is taking us on this 6-week journey, along with Rich Eisen and Bill Belichick, Chris Collinsworth with us now. Well, how cool has it been to be a part of this?
It was awesome. And I think one of the most interesting parts of it was to see, like, Bill loves, like, his Wednesday press conference, right? You think whatever the other team is the greatest team in the history of football, right? And so he was really loaded for all these guys to come in and for him to talk. I think he was genuinely surprised and touched by the reaction back to him. How sort of in awe some of these great players were of what he has done. And it made for a really interesting dynamic.
And for those of us who experience Bill Belichick through the prism of a Wednesday news conference, the man has no personality there. He is showing personality on these shows as well. It's been fun to see.
The Lawrence Taylor stuff was among the funniest stuff I've ever been a part of, ever.
So the list has gone through so far. We have seen running backs. We have seen the front seven. Who's not on the list that you think? By the way, he did not vote. He was not on the blue ribbon panel. Don't blow up Chris Collinsworth for who's on it and who's not. But who's missing out that should be on?
You know, he hasn't had that long of a career yet, but J.J. Watt's three-time Defensive Player of the Year, and he was not on the list. And I understand there's a lot of other guys that have played full careers, but that's pretty remarkable to not be on that list.
We here at NFL Network were pretty surprised. I think a lot of fans were as well. The youngest running back on the list, the most recent running back, was Emmitt Smith, and he was drafted in 1990. No 2000-era running back was on it. Was that a surprise for you? No LaDainian Tomlinson, no Marshall Faulk?
Yeah, because the game's changed since then.
Sure.
So I think that's acknowledging the new presence of pass receiving and pass blocking running back. So, yeah, it did surprise me a bit.
He's one of the few people on earth that know the whole 100. You don't know how bad I want to kidnap you right now and force you to tell me who the quarterbacks are.
A lot of people would like to beat me. So I understand. I understand that, yeah.
All right, Friday, 8 o'clock Eastern, right here on NFL Network. Lindsay?
Okay, we'll check in with Chris later, make sure he's okay. If you watch our friends over at ESPN this week, you'll notice that it's Jimmy V Week, and that within that, they are honoring today the life and memory of Stuart Scott, who, as you may recall, had a special relationship with our dear friend Rich Eisen, who has a special request for you.
Rich Eisen here. I cannot believe that 1 month from today, it will have been 5 years since we all lost one of our great friends. All of us, everybody who watched him every night, losing a great friend. Or for me, losing the man who referred to himself in the 7 years we did SportsCenter as my TV wife. That would be Stuart Scott. Again, cancer may have taken Stuart from the planet, but it's not going to take his legacy. It's never taken his spirit or essence. And I appreciate and thank ESPN for spending the next month to recall Stuart's legacy and celebrate his life. And in order to do that, let's all raise as much money as possible for the Stuart Scott Memorial Cancer Research Fund. Go to v.org/Stuart Scott and to give as much as you can. Or instead of going to the website, just you better recognize. And trust me, after giving, you'll be cooler than the other side of the pillow.